All right, so welcome to your first Common Hour for Scoop 100. You all did amazing work this past weekend, and it's great to see all your beautiful faces here today. So every week we're going to start off with a new topic, and then that topic's going to kind of follow you through the rest of the week for Scoop, okay? So before we get started introducing our speaker for today, a couple things to note. Make sure your phones are put away. We really want everyone focused on our speaker. If you're taking notes, that's fine. Just make sure that you're taking notes, okay? And then everyone should have received a journal. If you didn't receive one, no worries, we will get you one. Just let your mentor know. So in this journal, every Monday when you have a speaker, you should be making 3 points to remember in your journal from the speaker. These are graded. You're going to get points for your journals at the end of the semester. So with every speaker, we want 3 points that you're going to want to remember, and this is going to carry through your class. Okay? All right. Okay, so our topic this week is about community building. Why are we here at the university? Why are we here to get an education? And I couldn't be more happy to introduce your first speaker. Matthew Follen is a founding partner and owner of Endeavor Wealth Management, a financial planning firm in the Fox Valley. Matt graduated from Marian in 2014 with a degree in communications. He played on the baseball team, was in the communication club, wrote for the Sabre newspaper, traveled with the Political Action Club, and in 2014 was the university commencement speaker. He remains active in his community and industry, serving on many committees for FinSECA, the executive board for Butamore Country Club, and St. Mary's Catholic Church, as well as various charitable organizations such as Alex's Lemonade Stand, Form Then Family, and Beads of Courage. He's married to Amanda, and they have 2 daughters, Kennedy and Charlotte. The Follens enjoy traveling, golfing, and spending days on the lake or in the pool. Please join me in welcoming Matt Follen.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? I typically don't have a problem being heard. Probably talk a little bit too much. I do it for a living. I'm so excited to be back, seeing everybody in here. I have to be honest, I think I may actually have prepared more for this than I did the commencement speech back in 2014. Seeing all of you in here, first getting started this week, it's really energizing, it's exciting. And today, I'm gonna just share a little bit about my experience. What I find is that most people can understand or comprehend or grasp a lot more content if it's told in a frame of a story. So I'm gonna share some stories of my experience here, how that then helped shape me and my future, business, all of those things. But I wanted to set a little bit of the stage here, okay? I wanted to mention a few things. First, some of the advice that I give, all the advice that I give, are opinions of mine and mine alone. Doesn't necessarily mean right, wrong, indifferent. It's just my opinion on what worked for me. What worked for me getting through my 4 years in college and beyond may not work for you, right? I think one thing that we all need to come into your college experience or even in life into is understanding and an agreement that everyone is here in this room with a different background, different story, different challenges, adversity, successes, all of those things. And we don't know what that other person has went through to get here, what they have to go through every day to succeed and to stay here. Okay, so I want you to keep that frame of mind, not only here today, but as you continue your journey here. So let's jump into it. Again, I came out of high school I was in the Madison area. I bounced around though as a kid. Had a single mom. We lived in Florida, in Illinois, in Necedah, in La Crosse, in Madison, all over the place. I actually went to school my first semester I got a scholarship. I went to a school in Iowa to play baseball, really exciting. I got hurt on our spring break trip, and literally after the game, my coach said my scholarship was pulled. Kind of salt on the wound, right? I knew some people at Marian, and I immediately put in for transfer to come here. And of course, I thought I should have just picked this darn place first. This is where I really liked it, like the class size, all of those things. So I transferred here, and I finished my time here, okay? I want to give you a little bit of a frame. Here's the family. Here's Amanda. The one thing Marian did not teach me was to marry a Packer fan, unfortunately. She's from Canton, Michigan, diehard Lions fans. Every single game we've went to since we started dating, engaged, married, Packers have lost, so apologies for that. Kennedy, Charlotte, my two girls. What I'm going to start with here is I'm going to go through these few points and share some stories with it. But first thing is college life. Going into it, I don't know where everyone else has been or what you've done. I really started just sitting in my own circle, right? I played a sport, and that's what I did. I went to class, went to practice games, and I hung out with the guys on the team. That was my first about year and a half, two years in school. And it wasn't until probably my junior year when I was sitting with my academic advisor, and she says, well, what else do you have going on? I didn't have an answer, right? And she really challenged me to say, why don't you go out and just try a few new things? And I joined a few clubs and organizations, met new people that had other things to talk about than what I was used to. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was a little nerve-wracking. It was getting out of the comfort zone because I knew what I knew, and that was it. So the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway, honestly, if there's nothing else, is I would really challenge everybody, whether it be with a friend or on your own, talk to your mentor, your academic advisor, your professor. Find something, one thing a semester, a year, or more, to go outside of your box, right? Go outside of your zone of comfort and just try something new. Meet new people, see if you like it. I think the biggest thing that I took away, I know I learned a lot, of course, but the biggest thing I took away from my time here was actually learning more about who I was, which may seem a little strange. But self-awareness, I can say, can take you so far, and I'm going to come back to that. Build relationships. Like I said, my academic advisor was probably a little more than just that. I was in her office hours. I can't tell you how many times saying, Dr. Klein, I don't know what I'm going to do. Does everyone know exactly what they're going to do moving forward? Major, you're going to stick with it, no exact job, career, industry, anything like that? A few of you? It's awesome. That is awesome. I think I changed from freshman to senior year maybe 6, 7 times. And every single time I'm like, I don't know what to do. And she just kept challenging me to go out, find new things, and try internships. Talk to different people that are seniors, that are about to join the workforce. Go into different businesses that you go to and just ask questions. So along with challenging yourself to go out there and try new organizations and things, I think one big thing you can do too is build a network, build on relationships, build on people. So one of my favorite quotes when I talk to anybody in my industry, I work in the financial planning world, say the richest people in the world look for and build relationships and network. Everyone else looks for work. And this is not just financially. We're talking being fulfilled just as a person as well with relationships. I think the best thing you can do is build upon relationships with others, really find out about yourself, everything like that. If we pivot a little bit and go into academic success, personal, in any of those things, I am someone, and if you want to share that you are too, that's fine. You don't have to participate. You don't. Has anyone ever made a checklist of things they have to do that day, but you did something that wasn't on the list, so you wrote it on to just cross it off? Has anyone done that? Some people were like, nah, so I just did it this morning, right? I am a to-do list, task list, any of those things. But when I first started in school, because I was on my own, right? I didn't really have someone over my shoulder telling me to get things done. You're on your own, right? You have to be disciplined to yourself. I was always in a panic, right? Anxious, I've got this to do, I have this to do, I'm so busy, I gotta run to this class, I have this class, did I do that homework? Did I submit that paper? Did I meet that deadline? All of those things. I said a little bit earlier, figuring out like who you are, how you operate, I think that is such a good thing to focus on, especially in your first year, your first months here too. What works for you? I said earlier, for one person, a task list might work. For others, they're just like, they're done with class, they get the homework done, they submit it, and they move on. Maybe some people can say, like in high school and other classes, maybe procrastinating a little. I've got a week for that, and you do it the night before it happens. It does, and it probably still will. But if you really want to look at your time here as an investment, which it is, then focusing on what habits, what things you're doing, how you operate, what's going to work for you is going to be so, so important to that academic success. And in my personal opinion, right, I already said opinion, not saying it's fact, not saying I'm right, I believe that drastically reduces the stress, the anxiety, all the things that will come with the pressure of school and life and friends and work and all those other things, right? So figuring out what really works for you, self-discovery, identity. When I first started after school, I started in a business, a field, financial planning, which when I first started, honestly, it was basically just selling insurance and like small investment accounts. I finished school and I had a couple job offers with firms, and the one I took, when I called home to tell my mom, I accepted a job offer, I'm starting full time. What's the salary? Nothing, but, so I started a career in a commission-only field. A little bit of a risk there, a couple bucks in student loans, things like that. And one of the biggest things I had to do afterwards, after her reaction, was not go in and call, be like, no, sorry, I made a mistake, I'm not gonna take the job, right? But I needed to stick with it. But I think when you're going into something new, you're trying something new, there's gotta be somewhat of a belief in it, right? If it's an investment, if school's an investment, you have to work on it. It's not just like a stock you can sit and forget and just be like, hey, how's it doing later? No, it takes work, it takes time, it takes energy, right? So when it comes to the actual time management, habits, knowing yourself, all of those things, I was finding in my first month or two, I was super excited, right? Anything new, everyone start out excited. It's the honeymoon phase, school, work, relationship, sport, anything. You're super excited about everything. Well, that wears off, right? The motivation, I find, motivation is fleeting. It is fleeting. Willpower is fleeting. You know how many times I've been at the end of the day and I'm like, you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up early and go for that run. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, sun's just not in the right spot, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, the next day, right? The willpower, the motivation can be fleeting. So one thing that I did, encourage as something for you to do too, to continue to discover how do you operate, what works, how are you feeling, and I think I was told that you're going to be doing this. Write it down. Write down what you do. One of the best things I did, and I still do it to this day. I started 3 months in my career. I still do it in this day. I have stacks of notebooks in my office. I track what I do every hour of every day. Track what I do and how I feel. May not work for you. You might be like, that is, nope, right? Insert your opinion on how you think it is. But what it told me was a little bit of self-reflection. I was like, I feel like I'm working really hard, but man, do I have a lot of downtime and things that are not productive on that list. And then it seems like a day where I'm not very productive, I'm really anxious and frustrated and sad and mad and all these things that night or the next day. And before I knew what I was doing, before I audited, I was like, what's going on? This is too hard. It's hard for me. It's not hard for anyone else. Then I'd get caught up in that highlight reel of social media, seeing friends and everyone have success and be able to go out and have fun, and I'm sitting there with a pile of homework like, why is it, it's just me? Lonely. Why is everyone else figuring it out? So one thing that I think can really, really help is dedicating that time and investment on, like, what are you doing to figure out who you are, how you operate. And one thing that Marian did for me was, again, I had someone, this was Victoria Hildebrand, was a political action class, and she gave, for some people it may not have worked, for me it was awesome. I always asked her, I'm like, just shoot me straight, give me the feedback. She told me, she goes, I just don't think you're putting in enough time, or I think you need to focus more on this. Right? And she said, I would really try to link your actions and your outcomes. Is there anything can you find anything out between the two? Is there anything that you can track and change and do? And again, if you don't have the data, if you don't know how you actually operate, if you're not honest with yourself, or if you don't have a really, really close friend, which maybe you do, that can like tell you, be like, hey, Matt, you're playing, what was it back in the Call of Duty too much. You're not studying enough. You're doing this. You're at the press box too late. You're doing all these other things that you shouldn't be doing. Maybe that's why. And I think this goes directly into the health and wellness. I felt once I started joining some of the clubs and organizations, meeting new people, I started branching out, going to office hours, and talk to my philosophy professor, which, man, was that a turnaround from day one to my senior year, just to ask questions, being curious. And one thing I learned when I was here, it's all these little things that honestly, I should probably back up and say, I don't know if I appreciated it as much when I was here, but my goodness, do I now. Like, I pull quotes from professors and things, and I talk to Dr. Klein, and she sends me funny messages on Facebook, and all these things. And one thing that I heard was comparison is the thief of joy. Has anyone ever heard that? Or something like it? A few of you, right? How easy is it to get down when we start comparing ourselves to others? It's easy. It's human nature. You're not bad, wrong, anything like that if it happens. But my goodness, is it easy to just drag ourselves down and then compare. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Why do they get that and I don't? Then it can get to resentment, bitterness, things like that, right? Well, they must have gotten it easier, handed to them, this, that, or the other. I'll go all the way back to the very beginning. Maybe that's true. But it's just the reality, right? What can we control? What we do. That's it. And how we feel about it and all that. So comparison, thief of joy. Everyone's going to be going through something. Maybe you already are. Maybe this weekend, I saw the pictures on Facebook from orientation week. It looked like y'all had a bunch of fun. I hope that continues. You keep engaged and doing all those things. But make sure you are controlling what you can control. Find those people, build the relationships to rely on each other. And it's going to happen. You're going to compare on someone doing really well in class or in sports or in this or in that. And you're going to feel that inside, that joy just getting sucked out of you. This should be such an amazing experience of your life. And you're going to hear myself and other speakers, and you're probably going to be like, okay, we get it, the cliches, like best time of your life, right? Yes, you're going to hear it. You're going to think that. You're going to think, okay, they're preaching, like, get me out of here, right? Thought this was the first week. We're supposed to get out of every class early. You have to listen to me. Sorry. But I think that is such a big, big thing for you to remember. The next thing that I'd say really shaped me here is ownership. Has anyone ever heard, this is a book, maybe I'm dating myself even more, maybe I've got a lot of readers in here, Extreme Ownership. Has anyone ever heard of that? Extreme Ownership, one person, few people. It's a book, one of my favorites. The whole book is about what if, again, you don't have to take this all the way to the heart, but what if we just took ownership over everything that happened? Everything. What happens if you're late to class? Well, you guys just started. I was late a few times, but I'll tell you what, it was because of traffic, or my alarm, or something else. It wasn't ever me, right? One thing to look at or think about is, what if, as you enter this new experience, these new challenges, these things, what if you just owned everything? Now, is that possible? Do things happen outside of our control? Absolutely. Do you get bad luck, this, that, or that? 100% that happens. I'm not saying everything is your fault. What I'm saying is, when I walked in to my communications class, and there was 6 of us in it, couldn't sneak in. Dr. Klein goes, "What's going on?" So, well, I had work, I was coming from Appleton, I was, traffic. And she said, "Should have left earlier," right? Done. Should have left earlier. Should have set 3 alarms. Should have done this. Should have done that. But what I think is important about it, that kind of, again, we're looking at outside of the classroom content lessons here, right, during the experiences. Again, that building up the self, identifying yourself through the experiences here at Marian. How can you strengthen yourself as a person so you can feel, I don't know, maybe a strong word, a little bit more in control of the outcome, because you have so much to say about the effort going into it, right? But that all comes from building up relationships and networks of people that are going to be honest with you, so you can then be honest with yourself. I think that is a huge, huge thing. And I think even from my time here, seeing this class just shows me how much the university is taking seriously not just the academic success, but the health and wellness during that journey. I mean, I was so excited. When I saw the email and she explained what this course was, I was like, this is incredible. And the lineup of speakers and the topics, it's going to be so, so important. Personal growth and independence. I touched on this already a bunch, but if some of you have not been as independent before, where you are, in ownership of everything that's going on, you don't have someone waking up in the morning or doing this for you or doing that. I think the most important thing is to get started early with good habits. Get started early with good habits. When are you doing your studying? When are you waking up? When are you going to bed? When are you eating? Build out your schedule. Now, again, I'm a little more on the type A. I already talked to you about my checklists and all those kind of things. If you saw my calendar, I have everything scheduled, even on the weekends. I'm probably way above. You'd look at it and you'd probably, and that's fine. I'm not saying you have to do that. And maybe you're not a scheduled person. You're that relaxed, go with the flow, that, my goodness, bless you, I wish I had a little bit of that sometimes, right? But I am who I am. Self-awareness, right? We know who we are. But having the habits of putting down in the calendar what you have to do. Again, we're looking at how can you get rid of that anxiety and that fear of you're sitting there and all of a sudden a thought pops in your head. Did I get that done? When am I going to do it? Wake up in the middle of the night. Did I remember that? Did I respond to this person, that email? Did I check my email? Right? Starting out with habits, I think that goes far and away beyond what even happens here. To relate it back to what I do, so now a lot more of what I do is asset management. So I invest money for people. And the one thing that we say, and it's the most simple thing ever, is time. Someone say, well, what is success? What do the really successful people do? Do they just have to be making a ton of money right off the bat? No. Do they have to like get really lucky and buy Bitcoin when they're sitting in their college dorm because their friends are? That happened and I didn't. It's a real bummer, unfortunately. No, it's not that. It's time. Those that start early with good habits of saving, of studying, of doing all the things, right? Those that start early and create a good habit to where it's just second nature, it's not a pain because they started it, they created the habit. I have found, regardless of income, have the most stress-free retirement. Compared to those, I work with doctors, business owners, all that maybe didn't start with those habits because they couldn't or for whatever reason. And I ask a question in meetings that throws some people off because they think I'm just going to talk numbers. And I ask, are you happy? Are you happy? And my goodness, can we go through some wild paths, right? Now, I'm not saying by just having a calendar, you're going to have all this success and be happy all the time. I'm saying is what can you do early on, first week, and then moving forward, is how can you create those habits? How do you do those right things? That way you can go into class not feeling rushed, feeling like you're ahead of the game, feel like you have somewhat of a grasp on what's happening and what's going to happen in the future. This also relates, has anyone had in school prior, any education prior, group projects? Anyone? Everyone? Yeah? Might have some here too. What we don't want to have happen is being so behind with bad habits that you go into a group project and you're that one person that didn't pull their weight. Anyone ever have that on a group where maybe it's not you, but maybe you're like, I'm having to make up for work for other people, all those things, right? One thing that you can really focus on as well is building up, again, yourself, your own character. Like, are you someone others can rely on here? Are you someone others can rely on here, whether it's for a group project, to help, to volunteer, to just be there for someone? You're building a network, you're building a community, you're doing all that, and you have such an opportunity specifically here. I speak to residents at med schools, I talk at huge universities, small ones, and I'm not just saying this, I was so happy with my time here. Yes, my class was small, but my relationships were so strong. And that extends all the way out far beyond what I learned here in the class. What type of who do you want to be known as? What type of character are you going to show? Are you going to be there? Are you going to show up? Are you going to do what you have to do for others and for yourself? I think that's really, really important. What values are you going to create? Maybe you're bringing with you the values of your family because that's what you were taught, your friends, your coaches. I'm sure there's some athletes in here. I'm sure you spend a lot of time with teammates, athletes. What values do you have? Discovery of other things here are going to be so important, and that's where when I started joining some of the clubs and organizations, and I so wish I would have done it earlier. That was really the first time that I did any volunteer work. And I always just said when I was in high school and I played traveling sports and I was working in high school to save for college and all this stuff, I don't have any time, don't have any time, don't have any time, don't have any time. Didn't have any time until I created time. Didn't have any time for clubs and organizations until I created it, right? We have a hierarchy of things that we want to do. And we can prioritize things however we want. If I asked one of you, I said, oh my gosh, I have all this work at the house. I got to rip out all this landscaping. Can you come help? If you don't have a good relationship, and me either, I'd be like, I'm busy, right? Like, no, I don't even know you. No, I'm busy. Low priority. If I said, I don't want to do this landscaping, I'll give you insert large amount of money here. Can you come help? Where does that go on the priority list? Does it go a little higher? right? You can make the time for it. Now, not everything is related to, it's not a financial incentive to everything, but that's one thing you have to prioritize when you're coming into this experience is if you make it a priority as a goal, maybe in your first year at some sort of timeline to go out and join those things, create time, again, said at the very beginning, just to try it out. But doing that, doing some of the volunteer work, those kind of things, it shifted my own paradigm, my own view of the world almost, because I was so just doing my own thing all the time. And when I was here, it just gave us such an opportunity to give back and to do other things, hear other stories, hear other perspectives, because sometimes we can just stay in our bubble a little bit, right? And we just don't know what we don't know. And finally, preparing for the future. And this doesn't just relate to upperclassmen or someone that's about to transition into the workforce. I think this is something you can do right now, especially if you want to set yourself apart. I think, I don't know if I turned like a corner in a hallway in the main building back then where all the professors for my school was, where it'd be like, what internship are you in? Where are you working? What are you doing, right? I always had these questions. And maybe at the time I'm like, all right, yeah, I've got something going, But there's always people you can go to, and you should, to ask questions, be curious, get their advice, and try things related to the field that maybe you're thinking about doing. Maybe it's not even a full-on internship. Maybe it's just a conversation, an interview, a ride-along, if you will. When I first came, I was in the coffee shop, and there's a few different department heads in there because I didn't even know what I wanted to study when I came. I was there with Barty, the baseball coach, and he's like, please someone tell him to pick one so he'll come and we'll just be done with this. And I remember one of them just saying, it's like, well, why don't we just set up interviews in a few fields and you can just ask some questions. I was like, I could do that? She's like, well, yeah. And I just ask questions. If you're curious about something, find someone to ask. A professor will know someone, tap on the Alumni Association. I've had conversations with countless students where they just ask me, good, bad, and in between, what did you think? I'm thinking about doing this or doing that. What do you think? Right? Preparing for the future is not just building yourself up and doing all the right things and doing all that, but I think it can also be like actually starting to think about what does the future look like. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. I still pivot. Like I said, my main role is I'm working as a financial planning advisor. I also do commercial real estate. My wife and I have an event coordination business. That was kind of a side thing for her when the kids were young, and man, do people pay a lot for weddings, right? They need people, so we've pivoted and done all these other things because we were curious. We tried it out. We asked questions and we just did it, right? So I think preparing for the future is so important, but don't get caught up in that. But I have a lot of time. You do, but also why not just explore, build up some more of the transferable skills and all of those things right now, right? I think when I look back, to circle back, and like I said before, I know first week you're like trying to go through the agenda and like get out of each class a little early, so I said I would be done before the time. I think the frame of mind that you're going into it, I can't imagine everything going through all your minds right now, and you're just getting more like, well, do this and do this and do this, and you're like, great, I have a class load and learning all this new stuff, meet new people. But I think that the biggest message I can say is just be open to the experience, be ready, jump into it, ask questions, be curious, right? Assume positive intent from your fellow students and people and faculty, right? Leverage the resources that are there for you because, my goodness, they are there for you. Look at the buildings and everything here and the growth. It's just, it's incredible. And I think it's just so important. I mentioned earlier that when I was born in Florida, single mom, married my stepdad, had two sisters. That marriage lasted until I was about in high school. I was, for my family, my younger sisters and things, I was in a role that I didn't choose necessarily, just like I'm sure you didn't choose everything that has happened for you to get here. As a little bit of that, like, they went to me for advice, even my mom, I'm like in high school and college, and whether it was financial or just help or things like that. And I'm being completely serious when I say that until then, it was like I felt like I just had to figure it all out because I didn't really have someone I didn't have that figure to go to and be like, how do I do this? Right? Because one, I wanted to go to friends because I felt kind of embarrassed. I didn't want them to know I didn't know what the hell I was doing with anything. I didn't want to go to certain people because they needed me, right? I always felt like that. And if you look at my experience, my first year and a half, it didn't change. Because I didn't allow it to, right? I didn't put myself in a position to do it. But once I started opening up to the full experience, because it is a choice, the experience you have here, I believe, opinion, it is a lot of a choice of what you put in, will you get back? Didn't know what I was gonna do. I honestly thought I would be working in a cube, something like that. Another factor of when I was growing up, I had a debilitating stutter, so I didn't speak. I was in speech therapy till high school. I still stutter now, especially if I'm really tired, stressed out, anything like that. And I went from not talking to now you can't get me to shut up, right? And a lot of that is because of the experience and just going out there and just trying it. I told a professor that I don't like getting up and talking to people. Hell, I don't like talking to people one-on-one. I'm an introvert. I'll hang out with my friends and that's it. And she said, the goal is for you to be the commencement speaker. And I'm like, okay, funny, right? Great. And we did it, right? And it was all because I got challenged. I trusted someone. I had a relationship with her. She did everything that she said she was gonna do, right? Held up her end of the bargain because I did as well. And I just think if you can do that, if you can go into it, you've got all the resources, all the people, you're not gonna have anything but a great experience. I cannot stress that enough. And this is the financial planning team, so staff right now. We have 4 here in Oshkosh. I have 5 up in Appleton. And I look at the path now. The goal that I had, the vision board, does anyone ever create a vision board? I had a vision board. I still do. What I had hoped for early in life, I was like, if I could only do this, after seeing what my family came through, like we didn't have financial advisors. I didn't know what a 401k was, a Roth IRA was. Didn't have any of that stuff. My parents went through bankruptcies, all these things. And now I work in the financial planning space. It's kind of like a weird joke, right? But I look at what I thought was on the path, what I had, and I didn't really spend a lot of time onto it. And now I look, and it's like, all right, all those goals change because now I know what I actually want, what we want to do. And you might not have that yet. You might not have exactly that roadmap of like what you want to have, what experience you're going to have exactly. But I think the more time you can reflect on what you're doing, keep track of your time, your classes, things you like, dislike, and why, the relationships you're building, the connections you're making, knowing the network of alumni that has your back and support, the athletic, the organizations, the clubs, all the things the school has to offer. I'm telling you, your experience, like mine, will be a reflection of what you put into it. You have an opportunity. Make the choice, take ownership of what you're doing. Ask for help because things are probably not going to go your way sometimes. Bad luck, all those other things can happen. But I think to close, you have just such a great path forward. And what you're going to hear probably from every speaker that's, you're going to hear it and be like cliche, annoying. It's like, oh, if I could be in your seat, right? It was tough, it was difficult, it was hard. Challenges, but I think you have an opportunity to go about it the right way. A class like this can really help with it. Congrats on starting. Good luck. I don't know if there's anything else. Professor?
You still have 10
said more minutes. Oh, 10.
No, you're on the.
That went really early.
Informing the students, because they'll learn professors hate when you pack up early. I'm one of those professors, so.
Got it. And also, don't pack up early. Wait till someone says, hey, you're good.
Okay, do you mind if we ask some questions?
Yeah, that's
Do you have any-
sort of left.
Anybody have
Sure.
a question for Matt? Question about what he does now, his experience here at Marian?
And there has to be at least one if there's a Q&A. So now that there's a Q&A, there has to be at least one question, as big or small. At least one? Oh, see one over there. I don't.
All right, my question for you is, did you have any part-time jobs during college, and how did you make that work amongst your schedules?
Yes, so that is the whole plotting out the calendar. I started with, what do I have to do? Class, that should be number one, right? Have to do class. I had work schedule layered on top, practice, all those things just kind of layered on top. I did. I had a part-time job or two throughout the whole time. When I played baseball, I only played for a year till I had my other surgery. So then I only worked summers and during the off season. But I did. I worked, and I think the biggest thing for that was just organizing my calendar earlier, right? Having the non-negotiable times on there, class, work, homework, all of that, because the fun should build around that. I see with people, and it's normal, that they have their fun and then they cram the things they have to do, and that's just, my opinion, it's not very healthy, not very good, successful environment.
We have another one.
How did you avoid burnout?
Good question. I think I was more burned out when I wasn't prepared and I didn't get things done ahead of time, when I waited, when I procrastinated a little bit, but it is natural. I think there is a time to take time. Be okay with taking some time, right? I'm not advocating that you guys have all the success. You have to be like every day, all day, Sunday to, all the way through. So I think taking time and finding out like what recharges you. Is it like, what is it? Is it going coffee, reading, yoga, meditation, golf? Find out what actually helps, because going out late at night and things and doing things that maybe aren't as healthy normally cause more burnout, because now you're even more behind.
Another question? I have one. Oh, I saw a hand. Did you have one too?
How did you deal with being able to afford college if you had no parental support, like it's just you?
So, of course, the financial aid office sitting and saying how helped. So using the resources on campus. Also, I would plot out like my next 6 months to 12 months, right, on how much I had to work during the summer, how much I had to work each week. And I stuck to an extremely strict budget, so loans, savings, those kinds of things. But I think planning ahead, plotting out what it's going to look like can help reduce some of those fears. But now I know with financial aid and that whole student loan, it's a whole other beast now. That's where there's organizations out there that do not charge a fee to help plot out, see what other opportunities, what unused grants, what other student loans are available that aren't as, known. And I can forward some of those to the professor too, but I think planning ahead. Like my wife, again, we're in a very different situation financially, but we still track every single dollar spent. I think that's a healthy thing to just, again, you want to have some control. If you don't know where it's spending, which is very easy, especially with DoorDash and all that stuff and a card or Apple Pay, you can get out of control pretty quick, and then you're like, I'm short for tuition. So I think tracking it and plotting ahead. It wasn't, it sucked, right? Like it's, and that's where that highlight reel, seeing friends while in college on vacations and stuff, and I'm like, this is awesome, yeah, that's where you just gotta understand it is an investment. It's not always gonna be easy.
Obviously you journaled, but what was the best way you tracked your homework?
Stretch homework like as far as like what's due, like timing and stuff?
Yeah, like how would you use an Excel, a planner, whatnot?
So a planner, calendar, I do use a lot of Excel, but what I think even now with business, one biggest thing I do as a habit is the minute something's assigned or I get it, I have to do it, delegate it, or schedule a time to do it, right? So if I'm in class, we have homework or I see it on there, I'm putting it in my calendar of when I'm going to do it, like at that moment. So I have it in my calendar as a time block, when it's due, and that's when I have to do it. So same thing right now. I mean, I probably get over 150 emails a day. I have to assign it to someone, do it right now, or schedule it. Otherwise, it's not getting done, and people are pissed, and I lose money, right? So that trait I learned in school is like the most relevant now because it's direct correlation with my income. So book it at the time. I think Excel or workbook or anything just depends on the person.
I have a question. What brings you the most joy in the work you do now?
So I do work with a lot of people that are retiring, so it's always fun seeing people actually retire. So I am able to like see goals be hit and everything. One thing that I'd say is early on in time, every goal that I had, being transparent, being honest with everyone, was tied to money. Easy to do, right? I want to make money more. But my fulfillment and joy stayed flat or actually went down. Because like, that was kind of my God, if you will. I just want to make some. Once I started to relate it to like building my family, providing for my family, create memories, give back, do those kinds of things, I think the biggest joy with what I do is probably the freedom that it awards me and allows me to do the things that bring me joy. Like this. Like this is awesome, right? For me, maybe not for any of you. You're like, speak for yourself, right? And that's fine. But being able to give back and do that, have that freedom is important.
You may have said it already, but I was curious, what was the very first thing you started to start tracking your everything, your life, your homework, whatever you needed to do?
What did I use?
Yeah,
for
what did
it?
you use?
So I had one of the actual hardcover paper planner. And the bigger one, and I like carried that around with me like it was like a small child, right? So I used the paper copy, then I switched to like using your laptop or iPad or anything like that. But especially early on, I liked holding it, having that paper copy because I felt like it was tangible. I could cross stuff off and see it go off. So a hard copy planner is what I used.
Okay, so thank you, Matt. Can we please give him a round of applause? Please check in with your professor to make sure we got you for attendance, just in case you didn't sign your name or check a piece of paper. Make sure you do that before you take off, okay? Have a great week.